for us, it's about, how do we go about things and building a program in our own way? We have to find who fits here and how are we going to be successful here as a basketball program. And not just for 1 year, we want to be successful for a long time.
From the campus of Our Lady's University, this is For Good, Stories from Notre Dame, a behind-the-scenes glimpse into life under the Golden Dome and the powerful stories that drive Notre Dame to become a force for good in the world. Hello and welcome to For Good, Stories from Notre Dame. Today, I am thrilled that we are joined by Micah Shrewsberry, the Glenn and Stacey Murphy head coach of Notre Dame men's basketball. With coaching experience spanning the collegiate, professional, and national team levels, Coach Shrewsberry is building a team culture rooted in character and player development as he enters his third season leading the Fighting Irish. Micah, it's a thrill to be with you, and thanks so much for making the time. So let's cut right to the chase, if we could. How much, in your opinion, you've been coaching at the collegiate and professional levels now since 2007, 2008. How much has NIL and the transfer portal, NIL being name, image, and likeness, changed the game?
I think it's really changed in a short amount of time, and it's constantly changing. So you have to constantly evolve as a coach. This is my 5th year as a head coach going into this season at the Division I level, and it's so completely different than my first year as a head coach. So there are a lot of decisions that are being made because of NIL. There are a lot of players throughout the country that are transferring and going from school to school, and you see different programs rising quickly because of how they build through NIL and the transfer portal.
So you could change your entire team from 1 year to the next and bring in a lot of experience if you have the resources.
I think you've seen it, right? Just in our league. Louisville 2 years ago, from a team that was decimated, didn't have anybody, and rebuilt quickly and got to the NCAA tournament. Same NC State, talking about this year and how they've rebuilt. Miami, some of the others, just in the ACC. So you see it around the country. A lot of teams changing quickly, bringing in 10 or 11 new players in one season to really try and shift, their kind of makeup.
So Notre Dame being true to her identity, how do we adapt?
Yeah, I think for us, it's about, how do we go about things and building a program in our own way, right? Like every place is different. Every school is different. Every coach is different. Every player is different. We have to find who fits here and how are we going to be successful here as a basketball program. And not just for 1 year, we want to be successful for a long time.
Yeah. So to be very frank, do you foresee a power shift in college basketball with the NIL legislation now being approved by the federal courts and Congress? Do you see like a resurgence of the Big East, schools that don't have a football program that can direct more NIL money to their basketball programs? Are you foresee, or is it already happening, a shift in the balance of powers?
I think you are seeing a little bit of a shift. There are some, strong football playing schools. There's some not strong football playing schools, right, that are donating more or giving more of their resources towards basketball. Maybe it's men's, women's basketball, whatever it may be. And then there are schools that don't have football at all. Some of the Big East schools come to mind. You look at some of the schools and what they're doing. We can see it in recruiting, in like the recruiting classes or the visits or who's coming through. So I think some of those schools are at an advantage. We have, because of football, we have a little more resources to get to the 20.5 number of allocation from our school, where those schools don't get to that number, but they don't need to, because they only need enough to be successful for their basketball program.
So do you sit up in your office at times with your head spinning and just lament, how fast this change is happening? Or do you just kind of buckle down and say, hey, listen, we need to adapt. We need to pivot. We need to do, or is it a combination of both? What are the emotions that you feel within the coaching staff?
Yeah, for us, it is all all focus on what we're doing, right? I think you have to have an understanding of what people around you are doing and how they are building their programs, what they're doing, what's making them successful. But if it's something that you can't do in that way, then you have to do it in your own way. So you can't focus too much on the outside, right? Like you just can't be envious of other things.
Right.
You just have to, keep your nose to the grindstone and say, this is how we're doing it. This is what our plan is. Let's stick to our plan. Because the moment you veer from it, then you've wasted a couple of years that you've already put in.
So it seems to me that your philosophy has been, you're not averse to bringing a transfer student in to fill a hole for a year or two, whatever it might be, but you've really been trying to build the program from the bottom up with these 4-year players. That seems to be increasingly against the grain, and it's a longer-term strategy. You're entering 3rd year of this experiment. What are your thoughts on this philosophy?
Yeah, that's, like I said, it's about how are we going to be successful here at Notre Dame? Not, maybe it was a different when I was at Penn State. Maybe we went about it a different way. But for us to be successful here, this is how we have to do it. And, I'm big on player development. And we're really big on our recruiting. And who's going to fit Notre Dame and have success here? Who is going to want to become a really good basketball player and put the time in to be really good? And we kind of give all of our resources to those guys. And then let's grow them and build them to be the best players that they can be for us. So I love it. I'm excited about this upcoming season. I'm excited about where we're going as a program. And it's because we have a bunch of homegrown guys that come into the gym every single day wanting to get better, but also a bunch of homegrown guys that understand Notre Dame and how to be successful at Notre Dame.
So how unique is what you're asking of your recruits? How distinct is it in the marketplace of college basketball? For example, it seems to me, and I'm from afar, so correct me if I'm wrong, that at most universities, even top universities, the student athletes are not going to class. They live off campus, they take their classes online, and other than coming into the practice and game facilities, they rarely penetrate the rest of campus. How unique are we in terms of what we're trying to both educate the student on the court and in the classroom and all the values and faith dynamics beyond?
Yeah, I think it's, very unique. Notre Dame is a unique and special place. So you have to have guys that understand that, right? That's why we've had more success in the high school ranks than the transfer ranks, because the guys coming in from high school understand all that goes into being a student athlete here. Sometimes the transfers don't, or sometimes they're coming from a place where they've been taking classes online and they have practice at 10 a.m. And they don't understand that, you're going to have to go to class here. You're going to have to be a part of this entire community that's going to support you here on campus. So that's why the freshmen have been more successful, but also those guys understanding what Notre Dame is about has been really positive for us, because those are the guys that we've been able to retain.
Okay. Here's a parenthetical, silly, non-basketball question. You're named after the great prophet Micah, who called us all to act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly with your Lord. In that namesake, which of those three do you do best? Which comes most naturally to you?
Yeah. So we have a company that we use that does personality assessments. And it's a DISC assessment, but then at the end of it, it comes up with your top 5 values, just through answering a bunch of questions. And if you look at my top 5 values, competitiveness is one of the ones right at the top. It's not number 1, but it's close to the top. So I'm a super competitor. But the other 4 are family happiness, friendship, cooperation, and affection. So I'm just a big teddy bear. So love tenderly is probably the one that suits me best. And that's the one that, I think our players are seeing from me more on a daily basis.
And you, and together with your wife Molly, have raised a great family. We've had the privilege of getting to know your kids through high school as well, and also grade school, in fact, and that love shows up in your children. We'll talk more about them in a second. So your last 2 recruiting classes have ranked very highly. I think the first-year students that are here right now practicing with you, I think that class was ranked 6th, and the incoming class, which is not for next year, not yet complete, is currently ranked 11th. How are you pulling this off? I mean, how are you recruiting such high-level classes?
I think, one, it's a full staff effort. We have a great staff, assistant coaches all the way through, managers, whoever it may be. It's all hands on deck with everybody in our program when it comes to recruiting. And I think when the recruits come here, they see the genuineness that we have as a staff. They see the togetherness, the cohesiveness. But then we also lay out like what their plan would look like when they get here. From the time they're freshmen until the time they leave, this is what it's going to look like. And, also spending a lot of time with the current guys on our team. They're our biggest recruits, those are recruiters. Those guys really sell our program and talk about how we treat, how we're treating those guys that are currently here. And I think when recruits see that, when they see the plan of development, and when they see a chance for opportunity, and then doing it all in a special place like Notre Dame, it's been an easy sell for us to get some really good players.
So let's say that I'm one of those great basketball recruits. Just really broaden your imagination here for a second. How do you sell me on coming to Notre Dame and to this program?
Yeah, first we're going to talk about, what Notre Dame can do for you. And I listen, like Marcus Freeman will say it best, and he'll talk about choose hard, but he'll also say that, he wants guys that want to play in the NFL. I want guys that want to play in the NBA. But Notre Dame and this education is the ultimate insurance policy for you if you don't reach that goal. And that's first and foremost. I think our alumni base and what they've been able to do. So in the off
chance that I don't make it to the NBA.
The off chance, because you got a really good shot.
Then I've got a good life ahead of me.
You do have a good life ahead of you. I think our alumni base really feeds into our student athletes and takes care of them at a high level once they're finished here. And then from there, we're going to talk about basketball, a fun style of play. We're going to talk about how we're going to make you the best player that you can be. We're going to surround you with great people. And then we're going to help you be the best, person, the best student, the best, player, whatever it is. We're going to build you over those 4 years to be the best.
I mean, I have, incredible ball skills. I see the court really well. I can make the rest of the players better on my team. Do I have to play defense? I really don't want you. You're going to make me into a gritty defensive player?
Well, knowing your skill set, we would just find 4 great defenders to put around you, and just let you be you. I think that's the biggest thing. Let you be you. Let you run the show.
That's not true, because you play. I mean, you coach gritty defense. So you have this open style offense, right? And run and free, but you really do demand a lot of your players defensively.
Yeah, like we talk about, as much, it takes a lot of effort Defense is really a lot about effort. And, if we can get our guys to really play fast without thinking a lot and playing at max effort, then you can have a lot of success doing that.
Yeah. Have you found over the arc of your coaching career, it seems we always hear about, with everybody with handheld devices and social media, that attention spans are shrinking. Do you find one of the things about defense is that all it does is take a lapse of attention for 1 second, somebody miss a cut, you don't handle a pick right? Has it been harder to coach to keep your student athletes kind of laser focused on defense?
I think you have to really drill details, just the small details of what we need. I think being able to instruct them on how we want to do things and then trying to clear their minds the best that you can. You hear it in football all the time, but clarity equals velocity. We can play faster when we understand what we're doing.
Right.
So we don't try and overcomplicate things.
Right.
It's here is our base defense, here's our shell. If you can do these things and do it with max effort, then we're going to be really good. The other thing is it takes a lot of communication, right? Which is another, the cell phones and everything is taking away the communication from young kids.
Right.
But we talk about so much communication. It builds trust and avoids confusion.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to you about something, we're on the same page. If I don't say anything, there's some confusion in there and we can mess up something.
I was talking with John Morosi the other day from Major League Baseball. Great guy. And, he travels across, the nation broadcasting Major League games. And he said the difference between a winning locker room and a losing locker room, from his perspective, is eyes up. When he goes into a winning locker room, there's camaraderie, people are looking up, they're talking to each other. When he goes into a team that is losing, he goes into the locker room, everybody's looking down at their phone.
Yeah.
And there's silence. There isn't that sense of team. How do you coach with the phone? Do you have strict guidelines in terms of trying to get your players to keep their eyes up?
We don't, but we really talk about our team and our togetherness and their time that they spend together, right? Because everything you do off the court is going to translate onto the court and those connections. So we eat a lot of meals together. We spend a lot of time together doing things off the court to build that camaraderie. But we also, we've recruited a bunch of guys. Everybody's not the same on our team,
right?
But they may value the same things. They may have the same interests. So those guys really enjoy talking to each other.
Yeah.
Enjoy being around each other. Enjoy debates and conversations about different topics. So when you're doing that and you're having fun, you love being around the people that you're with, that leads to less phones and more conversations.
That's great. So you don't manage it by fiat. You just try to create the right culture for it to brim up. So what can we expect from this year's team? What are you excited about, and what do you think those are going to turn out to the Purcell Pavilion at the Joy Center for the home games, and those watching you on the tube can expect to see this year?
Yeah, this year, you love, especially at this time of year. If you don't like your team right now, you're in for a long season, right? But every day is so much fun for me coaching this group. They've worked really hard. They have an unbelievable belief in themselves and in each other. And then our practices, like I said, competitiveness is really high for me. It's high for a lot of our guys. So we got to cut practices short because they just go at each other each and every day. They're going to tear each other's arms and legs off because of how they compete in practice.
And you'd love to see that.
I love to see it.
Yeah.
I love to see it. And this year's team it's really good because we've recruited a bunch of really good classes in a row. And the talent level has gone way up. So in practice, you line up across from somebody that's just as good as you.
Yeah.
So the level of play in practice has gone way up. The level of competitiveness has gone way up. You have no idea which team is going to win on a daily basis. And we'll split the teams up, And sometimes you might say, hey, I'm going to stack this team and this one's better than that one, and the other team will win. So it's been really competitive. It's been really fun. It's a fun style. We've changed some things offensively and defensively. So I think we'll have a system that people enjoy coming to watch.
Fantastic. Your son, Braden, is going to be the third year now with the team. He's one of the stars on the team. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned about coaching your own son. I think there's probably a lot of folks watching who coach their own kids in youth sports, et cetera, not necessarily at this level, but they have the same dynamic of being both coach and parent. What have you learned? What insights could you share with those who are in similar positions?
Yeah, these last 2 years is the first time I've ever coached him. We've worked out together. We've been in the car rides together after games, but I've never coached him, and definitely not at this pressure-packed kind of moments and places. There's a good friend of mine that's the Boise State head coach, Leon Rice, and he coached his two sons in college. And he sent me a long text this weekend after the game, and it really struck me as something that doesn't happen for coach/dad, right? He talked about how you need to praise your son the same way you would do the other players.
Yeah.
Right? There's a little bit about being dad and coach that you don't want to give him the praise that he might have earned, because you don't want anybody to see it as any kind of favoritism.
Yeah. And you tend to be harder on your own kid.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So, he gets all of the bad and not really any of the good,
Right.
Which a normal player would.
Right.
So that's something that, having friends that have coached their kids, understanding those things, those guys now looking back on that matter and like what they would change. And Braden's handled it really well. He works really hard. He's a great teammate. He lives and dies Notre Dame basketball, right? All of our players do, but it's a little more personal for him, right? There's no, if dad doesn't have success, he doesn't have a chance to stay.
Yeah.
Right? He's got to go too.
That's right.
Right?
That's
So it's really important for him that we have success, and he lives and dies with it and takes losses probably just as hard as myself and the rest of our staff.
Now, your son, Nick, is a wonderful young man. Our daughter goes to school with him at St. Joe High School, and his team, the Huskies, won the state championship this last year, the first time in the history of St. Joe to win a state men's basketball championship. And if I recall correctly, I think Nick had 16 points, was a lead scorer in the championship game. And tell us a little bit. I see you at some of those games. You typically sit in the top row. You try to get away from everybody else. You don't really show a lot of emotion. You keep it within. You're definitely not complaining about the coach and or trying to micromanage anything. You keep what have you learned as a coach that would be helpful for folks to know of what it means to be a parent watching your child play?
Yeah, that's and it's a hard, it's a little bit harder because you have no control over that and no control over what happens in his games. So I usually sit up top because, sometimes I just want to be dad and not the Notre Dame coach who's at this kid's games. So I love to sit up top. I love to see it from a different view. I love to sit, sorry if anybody's there and thinks I'm not trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
I miss a lot,
Yeah.
because of being the coach at Notre Dame. I miss a lot of games. So sometimes I just want to be dad and I just want to watch.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part for me, being there. Like the state championship game was awesome. They kept putting me on the camera, but I just wanted to cheer and pump my fists and scream and high five the people sitting next to me. But I loved every bit of it, and I'm proud of Nick. He's had an unbelievable year and just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, and more importantly, knowing your children, they're great human beings. So aside from being really talented athletes and very good students, they're just caring, loving tenderly kids. To go back to that. So you carry the endowed head coaching position in the name of Glenn and Stacey Murphy. We recently endowed one of the assistant coaching positions here. In this era of the transfer portal, NIL, and everything else that's going on, what are the program's needs? How can folks listening, how can folks be of help?
Yeah, I think, endowing my position, endowing Coach Gather's position, those are so important for our program. But also the people that are endowing the scholarships for our student athletes.
Yeah.
Those are really important as well. I think for us, retention is huge, right? We want to keep our players here. In order for them to stay, they need to have the best student athlete experience that they can have. And, loving the places that they live, the people that are on campus with them, but how we do things as a program, right? We're lucky to be here in Rolfs and a beautiful building, the renovated Joy Center that they did inside of it, but there's still upgrades that need to be made for us to stay on par with other programs.
Yeah.
Just so our guys say, wow, we have everything possible here to be successful. I don't need to look anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, being able to say, like, we're giving our guys the best in every way, whether that's, in our weight room or the amount of coaches we have, or our locker rooms and how they look and renovating those, but making sure they have how we travel, making sure we have the best student athlete experience possible to retain these really good players that we've gotten.
Yeah. How about attendance? You're trying to what are some of the things you're trying to do? Obviously put the best product on the court, but beyond that, what are you trying to do to drum up enthusiasm? It's been, a slug kind of getting people, and there's so many different competing interests now that you have to work really hard to build that enthusiasm around the in-game experience.
Yeah.
What are some of the plans that you guys have?
Yeah, I think, one, the attendance is so important to your program, especially now. I talk about it now because we've competed really hard, but our talent level hasn't been at the same as some of the other programs we're competing against. Now that our talent level is actually on par with some of these schools or close enough, your home court advantage can provide the difference to help you win.
Yeah.
So our crowds are more important than ever this year.
So we got to come and be loud.
Come, be loud.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do our part
to
put a great product on the floor, an entertaining product on the floor, but also kids that you're going to enjoy cheering for.
Right.
Kids that you want your young kids to kind of emulate in what they do. Great students, great people, great basketball players. And then now reaching out to do things in the community, but also doing things on campus to try and rally up, our students here to really help provide that edge to push us over the top to a great year.
Yeah. So you've coached at every level. You've been an NBA coach at the top program at the Boston Celtics. You've coached Penn State. You've coached at Notre Dame now for a while. You've coached the national teams for the last several summers, keeping you really busy. But you started out at IUSB in 2007-08. You coached there, your first college head coaching experience. Do you remember how much money you made back then?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was making like $35,000, $40,000. So,
and my guess is you were working as hard or harder then as you are now, right?
I didn't have any full-time assistants. Wow. It was just me. I had a couple of guys that worked in town that would come to practice after they got off of work.
Yeah.
And would come and help in practice. I used to do the team's laundry. They used to push it down from the locker room and leave it there, and I'd do the laundry at nights. If we had vans to drive to the games, I'd drive the vans. So you were doing a little bit of everything back then, but,
So
I
that's
love
the great
coaching.
story about you. You love coaching, but you've earned it. You've moved up the ladder. Just a few miles down the street at $35,000 a year to now the head, coach at Notre Dame. Is there any difference, whether it's at the NBA level, the collegiate level, program like IUSB, Notre Dame? Is coaching basically the same, or do you have to adjust and make differences at the different levels?
I think you adjust for different levels. I think you adjust for certain personnel. But at the end of the day, coaching is all the same because the best players want to be coached. The best players want to get better. How you treat everyone on your team and get them to rally together for one common goal and purpose. You can do that at any level, whether it's coaching USA basketball for a month in the summer or whether it's coaching the Boston Celtics for 82 games plus the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's all the same, right? And I've coached, guys like Jason Tatum and Kyrie Irving to guys that are now, selling insurance here in South Bend.
Yeah.
Right. But you treat them all the exact same, and you coach them and you give them your all so they want to give their all to you.
Yeah. Fantastic. I have one final question, but before we get to the final question, what do you think the chances? And I'm not sandbagging you. This is the God's honest truth. I don't think I've shot a basketball in at least 2 years. So with that caveat there, what do you think? Just one free throw. What do you think the chances are that I hit the free throw?
So
I have not shot in 2 years.
one free throw, but if the cameras are rolling,
Yeah.
I think the adrenaline's pumping,
Yeah.
muscle memory kicks in. You hit the front rim, it bounces up real high, hits the back rim, rolls around from right to left, and then falls off that left side.
Okay. All right. I was lured in there for a little bit. All right, well, I'm going to take you now. Now my competitive juices. If I were to predict, is like when you get tense, you typically hit the front rim. You pull a little tight. So I'm going to shoot a little bit longer.
Okay.
And getting ready for that, so we'll see if I can hit it. But final question, Father Bob Dowd, our president, has set this year, the theme is cultivating hope. And it's in relation to Pope Francis before he died, the Jubilee year of the church, which is all about hope. Tell us what gives you hope when you look at what you're doing, when you look at however level you want to do it, the state of the world, your own particular program and family. What gives you hope as you go into your third year here at Notre Dame?
I think hope for me, and I've used this theme with our team after hearing Father Dowd speak about it in the opening mass for the freshmen. Cultivating hope for me in this season. I go back to a passage from Good to Great, and it talks about first who, then what. I think we have the who. We've gotten the right people in our program from the top down, from Father Dowd to Pete to Pat Garrity, all the way through our coaching staff, through our players. So that gives me hope to start with. Two, I look back at our past season and always lean back on 7 games. There's 7 games that I think could really flip or change one way or the other. Obviously North Carolina was such a tough loss that we had a really huge, we had a chance to win that game. There were 6 other games where we had double-figure leads at some point in time. So if you just take the North Carolina win and just take 3 of those games where we were double-figure leads in the second half, and you flip those to wins, we finished the season 19-14. If we were 19-14 last year, we returned 7 players. We bring in the number 6 recruiting class in the country. People are probably talking about us as a top 25 team right now going into this season. I'm a glass half full kind of guy and not half empty. So cultivating hope for me is knowing that, some people think you're really far away. I think we're really close to turning the corner.
I love it. I love it. And listen, Coach, we're thrilled that you're here. you're having the influence day to day on our student athletes, that you represent the Notre Dame program in every dimension at the highest levels. And we're rooting for you and the team, and we're really excited about the upcoming season. So please come out and catch a game in person. Certainly turn on your streaming devices and television to watch them when they're on the road. But we're really lucky. Notre Dame is lucky to have Micah and Molly Shrewsberry here together with their team. And so if you would join me, we always close these programs with a prayer to Our Lady. Together, we say, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Take care. God bless. Go Irish men's basketball, and watch me hit this free throw. That's the prayer. Okay. Pressure's on, baby.
Loud pressure. No pressure at all.
Holy cripe, I barely got rim.
It's the mic. It's the mic. Oh!
Okay, I'm predicting it's going to hit the front rim, the back rim, spin around, and go out.
I'm a basketball coach that never shoots.
Oh, I had no idea.
I'm a lefty.
You're lefty.
Yeah, I'm a lefty. Yeah.
Whew. Oh, nothing but net. Clutch.